Welcome to Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes with your host Bert Laporte, Damian Monte Carlo, and Angry Mike D. Alright, sit back and enjoy the ride as they talk about all things that rock and other useless knowledge you don't care about. And remember, every asshole has an opinion. This is theirs. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.
All right, we're back. Another episode of Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes. This one, we're doing a review of a documentary called Yacht Rock, which was on HBO. And it was released, I don't know, about 2-3 weeks ago. And hey, I was really looking forward to it because I'm a really big fan of that genre. And there's a couple stations on Sirius, and listen to it rather daily, especially in the summertime when we go down the shore and
Your yacht.
we just put it on. Dude, I'm serious. Like we've been listening to it. I don't know, maybe like the past 6-7 years, like every summer. It's just like it's just like a thing. And before that, I remember as a kid, it was it was known as soft rock, and it was just like
Right.
it was just like. It was like music for like that like business people would listen to or something.
That's a good way. That's a
it
good
was,
way of putting it.
it was just like it was just like real fucking lame. I thought,
Business
here we
people are
go.
people that cut your hair.
No, like yuppie rock. Like
Right. Okay. Mhm.
like yuppie rock, like people who lived, rich people,
Like
who
the
lived on
preppy, like the
main
preppy
line.
guys.
Preppies, the preppy people. Yeah. They will listen to that music, who weren't like really like fans of, rock, but they're just like casual music people, so
Yeah.
they will listen to that stuff. And, as a kid, I thought it was like corny, but
It's like old man music.
I don't know.
What's
Old
that telling us?
man music. I don't know, but, yeah, I just listen to it a lot now, and actually, like a lot of these songs, I had no idea who did them. I didn't know George Benson did these songs, and Steely Dan. I always heard the name. I didn't know what they did, and they're huge in that. And
I'm still not putting
Michael
them in there.
McDonald and who?
Steely Dan.
They were the major
they're
influence
big
for
time
everybody.
Yacht Rock.
Yeah,
They
I
were,
know, but
yeah.
They were
I
more
don't-
than that. But
Right, they were more than that.
but
Yeah, mhm.
if
and a lot of those bands were.
Same thing.
Or
Doobie
artists.
Brothers. No.
yeah, but they're definitely a part of that genre.
Michael
It's
McDonald
just,
was. Yeah, so
Right. That's
so,
still
so-
yeah.
Yeah, so there were a lot of these guys in this documentary. Pretty much, I call them as like the focal points, like all the guys in Toto. Not so much the band itself. They have songs that are in that genre, yeah,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't consider them a yacht
Total.
rock band. But the musicians were all session guys from that
Yeah.
band, so they're like the focal point of this documentary. Michael McDonald, Kenny Loggins, Christopher Cross, and Steely Dan. They're like the main players in this.
Yeah.
And then it gets into like the roots. Like it came from actually Steely Dan was like one of the first, and Michael McDonald, and kind of like stemmed from like jazz. Like a lot of jazz guys, Larry Carlton and George Benson. They wanted to, I guess they wanted to get more into popular music, and they kind of turned into that. And it was pretty interesting. Like we didn't know it as yacht rock back then, but there was
Yeah,
like
it wasn't coined
this is
till a
all the
couple years ago,
documentary.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, it stemmed like in the mid 2000s. It was like a web series,
Which
and-
looks pretty
and
funny. I
these
gotta watch
guys-
some of it. It looks pretty funny.
I got to look it up too. Yeah, so and these guys are interviewed in there, and they basically just in this web series they kind of like mocked the music, but not really. It was like a fictional tale of like how these songs were written, and it seemed from the clips, it actually seemed kind of funny and stuff. But Yeah, I mean, it interviews a lot of those guys. It interviewed a lot of hip hop guys like De La Soul and Questlove and Thundercat and
The Thundercats, guess what? I stumbled over him a couple months ago for the first time. Pretty
No,
damn
you.
good.
I showed them to you a few years ago.
I don't remember why I stumbled him over again myself. Pretty good.
he
Yeah.
So I work for Ibanez, and he's an Ibanez artist. He's one of our artists, our endorsers, and he has his bass. It's like I don't know, it's like $70,000 bass. It's fucking heavy as shit,
The wide one, right? It's got the
and
wide.
it's real wide. And dude, it's heavy. It's really really heavy. And
Some of his stuff's out there.
He comes. It is. It's cool.
good. Yeah.
But he comes to the NAMM show and he fucking just hangs out with us and shit. And,
Oh, nice.
he just like blends right in. But can't really say he blends in because when you see him, he definitely,
He's somebody.
looks like, he's somebody, but he just blending in as far as like, he just hangs out and is like cool with everybody. But he's in this documentary and I thought it was really, really well done. They pretty much interview everybody except
There's a Fagin.
Fagin with nothing to do with it.
Donald Fagen, yeah, which was kind of funny because I kind of see it as almost like, hair metal, right? That's like what
Exactly.
everybody calls it. We didn't call it that.
Nah.
And it started out as like a derogatory term for the music. Nobody called it. It was like pop metal or glam metal or something. But it would be funny if somebody from that genre like got all fucking pissed off.
There's
It seems
got to
like they
be,
just
I'm
kinda
sure.
but there's
I'm
got to be
sure.
somebody. Yeah.
Or
it kinda
you call
reminded me
somebody
of
who's
that.
not a metal band, like we're not a heavy.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, look at Dame. Look at that cup. Let's go back to the tape, Dame. Let me see. Yeah. That's a Stein.
I always have this.
I didn't see
Imagine
it.
drinking.
I never
can't
noticed
see
the
it.
barrel Stein.
Ah, okay. It's like a Viking cup.
Yeah.
Viking mug. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. We got props now. We have props. Yeah. So, I mean, I watched the documentary. I thought it was really good. I actually want to go through, and I'll wait till after Mike talks. Again, we could talk about. I kind of got some of the artists down with some info on them. We could talk a little bit about that. But yeah. So it's on HBO now. All in all, I thought it was well done. I thought the director did a great job. It's a Garrett Price who directed it. He was able to get some heavy hitters for the doc, I thought, and except
Pretty
for
much everybody.
except for Fagin, which is pretty amusing because
Yeah.
he hit you. What genre is that? The setup line, waiting for the end,
Fuck off.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
That was
Or
the
whatever
best
he
part
said,
of it.
I
Yeah, he's
forget.
like, fuck off.
It's great.
He hung up.
And I actually come out of this. I mean, I knew he was good, but I came out of this with a lot of respect and notice of how important Michael McDonald was to the genre. He's got a crazy vocal style. It's the highest, lowest.
He was like connected.
Everything.
Yeah, he was like connected
Everything.
with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything.
he was like like how the rappers are on they do cameos on all the songs.
He was doing it.
He was like that guy.
Really. Yep. And I mean, he's got a
Yeah.
crazy vocal range. He's got a unique style. And he, like I said, he comes out, and at the end, he comes out looking like, a pretty happy, good-hearted guy. Really, who would have known? I would have never. He came out like, they made fun. I don't care. Good.
Yeah.
He was right with it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he didn't care. That was
pretty cool.
kind of refreshing to see. Yeah, he
Yeah.
didn't come off like bitter or anything. He just kind of rolled with the punches,
Yeah, he was having a good time. And what I noticed with all this is, and you told us before I even watched it, because, you kind of know what the yacht rock stuff is, but you were like, you're going to know way more songs than you think you know. And you're right. I was surprised. I was really
from all
surprised.
that. I listened to it. I turned the station on. I was like, oh, I know the song. And then you look down who did it, and it's like, oh, Kenny Loggins. Yeah, I mean, all those. Kenny Loggins was another guy. It was like he was everywhere, and talk about like a chameleon. Like, he was like a folk artist, like folk rock in the early '70s, and then he kind of got into yacht rock, and in the '80s, he was like the soundtrack guy.
Yeah.
I remember like the Footloose. What else did he do in the soundtracks? If I could.
Danger Zone,
Danger, right?
Top Gun.
But didn't he did what's
Caddyshack.
He did a song with one of the Beatles too, didn't he?
Probably.
Caddyshack.
He did the Caddyshack song, I'm All Right. Yeah, he's like the
Yeah.
king of the movie themes.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So he really had a pretty actually like a really pretty varied career. You know.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Mike, do you want to throw anything at when you thought of the documentary before we get into a
Oh,
little bit about
I
the
thought it
bands?
was put together good. For me, a little bit long, but you know, it
I
was
don't
cool.
think it was
Like
that bad.
I didn't know. Like I heard those songs forever. Like I didn't know. I heard Christopher Cross's name forever. I just never knew the stuff that he did. I never knew how big he was as far as like winning all those awards and everything either.
That first record,
Yeah.
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 But
It's pretty crazy.
yeah, I know the name. I just before this, I really couldn't tell you anything he did. I just knew the name Christopher Cross. Couldn't even tell you who point him in a crowd. I couldn't even do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So before we get into this, the first thing, we got to let everybody know if they haven't seen it is Donald Fagen's absolutely not a fan of the term yacht rock. So that's the one thing to take away from this.
Hmm.
Okay, Dame, what do you consider yacht rock in general?
Soft rock.
Right. I agree.
Soft rock.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Late 70s, early 80s, soft rock.
Yeah, keyboard heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff that your
Soulful
parents would
singing.
listen to.
Right.
Mm.
Where it's not
Soulful
too,
singing. Yeah.
I mean, I'll get into some bands that I didn't notice it was on there that I'm going to throw at you at the end. But let's get into some of these bands. Okay, so it seems like everyone was influenced heavy on Steely Dan in general. Who were, they were top-notch musicians, and as they say, they were perfectionists. So they came from that whole rooted in jazz theory, complex chords, and all that crazy stuff. They just don't do one thing, but some of this genre definitely came out from that. And it seemed like all these
Hmm.
guys who did write that stuff, that was like one of I wanted to sound like Steely Dan, Steely Dan, Steely Dan, And then the addition of Michael McDonald, I guess, boomed it up even more. So let's start
Yeah.
Steely Dan, American, just from Wikipedia. American hard rock band in New York, formed in New York in 1971 by Walter Becker, Donald Fagen. Originally having a full band lineup, Becker and Fagen chose to stop performing live by the end of '74, which is crazy, and continued Steely Dan only as a studio duo.
Hmm.
Wow. So 9 studio albums from 1972 to 2003. Biggest release, Asia, released in '77. Biggest songs, Ricky Don't Lose That Number, which I didn't know was them. It's crazy.
No, I didn't know that was them
I didn't
either.
know it was them. Do It Again, Hey 19, Peg, Reelin' in the Years, which is another real good song. So your thoughts on Steely Dan, Dane?
Yeah, it's funny. Years ago, I remember, I don't know when they reunited. I mean, the one guy, Walter Becker, I think he died a few years ago, but when they first reunited, I actually thought Steely Dan was the guy, Dan. I
Yeah.
had no idea it just, it was
Steely
just a band
Steely
name.
Dan is a dildo.
That's what they say, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, whatever. I mean, I didn't really know anything about them, and then all the songs, like, oh, I know this. I know. Even now, I'm still amazed by the amount of songs that I hear that I had no
Mm.
idea that it was them after all these years. And they had like the best musicians on all their
Oh, crazy.
stuff, like the best drummers and guitar players and everything. And I'm actually a pretty big fan of them now.
The Asia record's
I
pretty
would,
good. I mean, I
yeah,
know that
yeah,
record a little
yeah.
bit. That record's pretty good. Mike, anything did you know anything about Steely Dan before this?
I mean, I heard them. I heard songs on the radio. I couldn't tell you a title,
Right.
but I mean, I just knew more the origins of the name more than anything of them. That's about it.
Right. Which I only found out a couple years ago either. I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, but
I forget which book it was. It's either is it 1941 or I forget. It's I know it's one of those dystopian kind of stories. I forget which one it was though.
yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm almost sure it was like 1981 or maybe not, I don't know. It was one of those dystopian books that they made you read in school. Was that 84?
1984 or something?
Maybe that was it. Yeah.
Okay, so we got the Doobie Brothers. Doobie Brothers are an American rock band formed in San Jose, California in 1970, known for their flexibility in performing across numerous genres and their vocal harmonies. The band has been active for 5 decades. That's crazy. With their greatest hits, with their greatest success taking place, of course, in the 70s. 15 studio albums from 71 to 2021. Biggest albums, minute by minute. Michael McDonald has been in and out of this band since what? The 70s, I guess. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah, he's
whatever it
back
is.
in now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like back and forth. So some of the big songs, What a Fool Believes, Blackwater, Real Love, Long Train Running, One Step Closer, Damo. What do you got on the Doobie Brothers?
I don't know if I can. I don't really consider him yacht rock. They might have a song or two, but Michael McDonald definitely, but not so much the band. I mean, they might have dipped their toes in it, but they're more of like soul rock, I guess,
Yeah.
R&B.
It's so
Rock,
hard
you
to
know?
So yeah, kind of on the jammy side, kind of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even like my most memorable thing with the Doobie Brothers before I knew who they were was, what's happening.
Absolutely,
was
same
out-
here.
They talked about that in the
Yeah.
documentary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remembered Rerun had the tape recorder in his shirt,
Yeah.
and he gets up and dances, and it falls out.
Yeah. Right.
And they just heard the popcorn the whole time. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That was a 2-part episode.
Yeah. Because he gets
That was a
caught.
big
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one. To be continued.
But I always thought was cool about the Doobie Brothers. I think they had the bass player and the guitar player had they had a great look. They had the long with the so noticeable,
Yeah.
you know.
Dude,
But
I
they do
never
got some good
realized.
songs.
I never realized the guy from Toto had such a great mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Mike, want to add anything on the Doobs?
Yeah, I'm like I said, you pretty much took the whole thing from the Dubes away from me, from what's happening, because that's where I kind of remembered him from. And I didn't know, like, for like a long time, like I thought they were just like a soul band or something like that. Like I didn't know they were kind of like more of a rock band, but
Yeah.
that was my first exposure to them.
Yeah.
They got such a great name too.
Great
Such a great
mustaches.
name. The
Yeah.
Doobie Brothers. What a great name.
Yeah. Okay, so move on to Michael McDonald. American singer, songwriter, keyboardist known for his distinctive soulful voice. He was a backing vocalist for Steely Dan from 75 to 80 and lead vocals for the Doobie Brothers across the stints of 70s till back and forth now. He wrote several hit songs with the Doobie Brothers, including What a Fool Believes, Minute by Minute, Taking It to the Streets. McDonald's also performed as a predominant backing vocals on numerous recordings by Steely Dan, Toto, Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins. 9 solo studio albums from 82 to 2017. Biggest soul album is If That's What It Takes. Big songs, On My Own with Patti LaBelle, I Keep Forgetting, Sweet Freedom, Yamo Be There, No Looking Back. The funny thing is Yamo Be There, it's really spelled like Yamo Be There. I know. It's really spelled like that. The Keep Forgetting song I think is great. I like that song.
Which one?
Keep Forgetting.
Oh yeah.
Great
I
song.
listened to that like half a dozen times last week.
Was that the same song used in the Warren G song? Yeah.
Yeah. They talk about that.
Yeah, they talk about regulate. Was it regulate? Was it?
Regulate. Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great song. That Keep Forgetting's a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yamo Be There, which is weird because, not to poke fun at him, but like, you think of was the
40-year-old version.
40-year-old version with the Yamo Be There where Michael McDonald's played the whole time. What was the record, Dane, that they said was the standard record for if you went to go buy a stereo? That's the record they
It was.
always
I think
played.
it was Asia, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think so. It
Okay.
was Steely Dan. Yeah.
That we're like that's the record they play. The sell the
That's
equipment.
kind of funny.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Yeah. So Michael McDonald, what's your thoughts there, Damo?
Yeah, he's like one of the godfathers. It's. I mean, he's on everything. He was like a special guest and all that stuff. He's. That's the guy. He's one of the cornerstones.
He was the Slash Pitbull from the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Mike D, anything on Michael McDonald?
I mean, great voice, and I'm not gonna. Can't take away, but but I just can't listen to him. It's just not my cup right there.
Gotcha.
Not my voice. But
Yeah.
I kind of like I looked at him and the way like he acts and stuff. Like I would have thought he was just like stuck up dude and everything like that. Like I got such a great voice, Michael McDonald, and like that like how you see Michael Bolton kind of act like that type of. But like he just seemed like a really cool, down to earth dude.
He pokes fun at himself too.
Yeah,
Michael
it's
Bolton.
great. Yeah, Michael Bolton does now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. He did that. What was it? That island song or whatever.
That's funny. So another one, Kenny Loggins, which really could go anywhere. I mean, there's 3 or 4 different genres he hits or more. American singer-songwriter, guitarist, early songs with the Nitty Gritty Band, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, I should say. Had a bunch of albums with Messina when it was Messina and Loggins, and
Your
then he
Mama
went.
Don't Dance.
Your Mama Don't Dance. That's with the one Poison covered. Yeah,
That was them. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, he's won Grammys, 6 studio records with Messina and Loggins from 71 to 76. Big songs. Your Mama Don't Dance, Thinking of You, Where the River Runs. Biggest solo album, Night Watch. Biggest songs, Footloose, This Is It, Meet Me Halfway, I'm All Right. 3 of them. I don't know if Meet Me Halfway is, but 3 of them are definitely soundtrack songs.
Yeah, huge too.
Huge. Footloose was fucking huge.
Mm-hmm.
So was I'm All Right, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, what was
Danger Zone.
Danger Zone's another one. I mean, he was definitely. You had a soundtrack for a movie was coming out.
All him.
It was all him. and listen, we talk about the mustaches all the time, but what a great beard. What a great beard. He still rocks the beard. It's a good beard.
That whole documentary was filled with great beards and mustaches.
Great facial hair.
Yeah.
I think Yacht Rock, great facial hair.
Yeah.
The beard, I was very impressed. I haven't seen a beard look that good since Kenny Rogers. Good beard. Good beard. Michael McDonald had a good beard. Michael McDonald had a good beard, yeah.
He had a great one.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. Yeah. I mean, what do you remember Kenny Loggins, Dane? Soundtrack, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, soundtrack stuff. And I didn't really even think of the Yacht Rock stuff. I always remember him as a soundtrack guy, but then he's another one. It's like, man, you don't realize the hits he had. Like he was just like, he was like right next to, Michael McDonald as far as like everything that was going on with that music,
Yeah, that's crazy. How about you, Mike? Were you familiar with Kenny Loggins?
I know a few of his. I think he did. Who did he do a song? Was it Paul McCartney or was it George Harrison?
I think McCartney, maybe.
Yeah, I remember it was probably 89, 90 or something like that. He kind of had a little resurgence. But I didn't really know all his old stuff from back in the day. Like I just kind of knew those few soundtrack songs he had. And
he had 3 careers, really.
Everybody kind of used to make fun of him back in the day.
Yeah, well, he had 3 careers in music. It's
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so Christopher Cross, American singer, songwriter, and guitarist, had won 5 Grammys, which I think was all in the same year, right? Singles, Sail, and Arthur's Theme. I mean, this guy had a bunch of hits quick, and then he kind of died down a little bit after that.
He died down big time.
Yeah. 15 studio albums from 79 to 2017. Highest selling record was a self-titled record. Big songs, Arthur's Themes, Best That You Can Do. Never the Same, Never Be the Same, Thick of Laura, Sailing, which is a huge song, Say You'll Be Mine, and Ride Like the Wind, which I thought was a pretty good song too.
Yeah, I wanted to cover that one.
Ride Like the Wind? It's a good one, Damo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one. Was that the song that he said he took acid and then he wrote the song? Was that the song?
Yeah.
He said he was in his buddy's car or something like that.
Yeah.
That he wrote the song.
Yeah, he seemed pretty cool. Like the guy that who'd know, man. Like he would think that he would be like a party guy,
Right.
He was like he had a lucrative drug dealing business too.
Yeah. And he played guitar in Deep Purple for a gig. He said.
Yeah, how crazy
filled
is
in
that?
for Richie Blackmore.
How crazy is that?
That ever filled in for Blackmore?
That's insane.
Nuts. Yeah,
that's insane. And then I saved these guys for last before we go into some other things. But Toto, I mean, American rock band formed in Los Angeles, California, in '77, combining elements of pop rock, soul, funk, hard rock, R&B, blues, jazz, pretty much everything. Having released 14 studio albums, sold over 40 million albums record worldwide. Grammys, you name it, they got it. If you needed a studio musician, it was Toto. They all were on every frigging thing. Mm-hmm. They played on a ton of artists' records. Notable, or the Michael Jackson Thriller record. They're all over that record. And who wrote? Not David Patz. The other guy wrote, which I didn't know until watching the documentary.
Steve Porcaro.
Human Nature.
Yeah, he wrote this. Pretty much
crazy. He wrote the song.
Probably made some mad money on that one.
Yeah, who would have thought? I didn't know anything about that. I Need Lukather plays on a ton. I mean, he's a beast. Lukather's a beast.
Yeah.
Have
Well,
you-
the drummer is like one of the greatest drummers of all time.
Yeah.
Picaro.
And they were
Yeah.
saying like some of those guys were on thousands of albums.
They
Like,
are. They are.
thousands. Like that's crazy.
They were the go-to session guys.
Mm-hmm.
They, like see how like you go drums, you go to Kenny Arnorf now. Well, they went to Toto.
But who has that work ethic now? Like nobody.
There's a couple out there.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah. There's people we don't know that are just that's what they
Yeah.
do. That's Dame will probably give you he has a list of them, I'm sure, that he deals with all the time. You just don't know the names because you don't see them, but they're working steady.
Yeah.
They're working steady. So 14 studio albums from 79 to 2017. Highest selling record was Toto 4. Biggest songs, Africa, Rosanna, Hold the Line, I'll Be Over You, Pamela. At least the first three were all on the
Georgie
same
Porgy.
record. Georgie, oh my God, I forgot about that one. I didn't know that was them till way after.
Yeah. I think that was like their first hit.
Georgie Porgy.
From the 70s. Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. What's your opinion on the Toto there, Damo?
I like that, man. I thought they were, when I was a kid, I thought they were corny as shit. They were like, it was like dad rock. But
Yeah.
man, I'm a big fan now. I love them. I listen to them a lot.
Yeah. Harmonies, I mean, vocals, everything's great. The musicianship's
Yeah.
great. Same thing for me. Like, I never would have listened to them 20 years ago. But now, I enjoy it. Sometimes I enjoy just chilling with stuff like that in the background, How about you, Mike? You familiar with Toto?
I didn't know his song until a couple years ago, which I always heard the Africa song. I never knew it was them. I think I've heard that Africa song more in the last year than I've ever heard it in my life.
It's still huge.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what? It's such a great song.
It's
Like
still
you
huge.
listen to it, it's just so good. Like I don't know. I don't even consider that one yacht rock really, but it's a great song.
Well, it's more the players played on everything,
Right.
And that's where
Yeah.
they get thrown in that a little bit. I mean, like I said, you talk to them, they wouldn't consider themselves that they're just musicians.
Right. Which they asked them that, they were like,
We don't know the yacht.
yeah. But it's just, I'll tell you what I didn't notice. I'm going to throw off some of these names here, and they named one or two of them. Like they did name George Benson, Boss Skaggs, which I know the name, I'm just not that familiar with him. But how about you have like a guy like Robbie Dupree, that Steelway song, total yacht rock. That's a total yacht rock song. Seals and Croft, Summer Breeze, great song. Ambrosia, How come Air Supply didn't get mentioned? I would consider
They
that.
did mention them.
Did they
Yeah,
mention
they
Air
are.
Supply?
Yeah, they
Okay.
said they weren't.
I mean, I would consider.
I would
that
consider them.
They were like the older people
Yeah.
when we were young, like that. Jimmy Buffett, you probably got to throw in there. It's
I don't know.
it's
They
that
were saying
feel,
that.
right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's more of like a island feel or something. I don't know.
Well, how about
Yeah.
Rupert Holmes? Does the Pina Colada song count as yacht rock?
I'm looking at something. They do have it. Yeah. You know what? They play that on that station all the time. So that he definitely is. Yeah.
The Pina Colada song? Yeah.
I saw this interview with him about that song. Like he was trying to write a hit song for so long, and it just never happened. And he started writing that song, and it just wasn't working out right. And then he read this like one ad in some kind of newspaper, and that's how he kind of wrote the song.
The Pina Colada song.
The
that's
Pina
funny.
Colada. Like if you read it, it's all about like some guy answering like a one ad for like a date or something like that. So
That's funny. That's funny. But yeah, I gotta say, I kind of enjoy the yacht rock. It depends what mood I'm in. You know what I mean? But I don't mind it when it's on. Like 25 years ago, I'd have been like, "What the fuck is this?"
Turn this old man music.
You know. But maybe because we're old now, so I don't know. But it don't really bother me. Like sometimes you can't be on 10 all the time. You got to chill once in a while. So it's good chill music.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you don't mind it. If you're out somewhere and it's playing, you don't really mind it. You know? Interesting. Damo, anything as we wrap up?
No, I mean, another thing at work a couple weeks ago, we were talking about George Benson, and one of the guys was like, "Man, I don't know one George Benson song." One of the guys I work with, I was like, "Dude, you probably know way more than you think, right?" So then I started playing a bunch of songs for him, and then the one song, "Turn Your Love Around,"
Yeah,
Turn Your
great
Love-
song.
man. So after I played that to him, that song got stuck on my head really, really bad. And I must have listened to that song, no lie, about 50 times the past couple weeks, over and over and over. That song is infectious, man. It's like so addictive. Uh, it's just fucking great, man. It's like addictive. Like that
Like,
song is like so damn good.
like if you had a yacht rock mix, would you put Billy Ocean, Caribbean Queen? I would put that on there. Right? Why not?
Caribbean Queen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would fit, right?
I don't know. I don't know if that's considered that. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe a different sect of it. Like I kind of think a lot of that stuff is sort of like you say heavy metal, right? You think Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, but then there's so many
Yeah, yeah.
like Nelson. They're not heavy metal, but they fall under one of those umbrellas, like
Yeah.
one of those subgenres, or some of these other bands. I guess it could be said for all the yacht rock stuff too, soft rock.
Yeah, it seems like everything's broken down so much. Like I don't know if it was I think it was on the documentary.
Fleetwood Mac. Already mentioned Fleetwood Mac and
No,
Beatles.
the other chick, the lady with the dreads or the
Yeah,
braids.
yeah.
She mentioned that, music was music in the 70s. It just all was mixed up, which I love that idea of mixing everything in.
Yeah.
The genre thing sucks. I mean, I get it, but it just, and then you got genre. It's almost like having a baseball or football card collection, and then now you got all these subsets. It just gets
Yeah.
confusing.
Mhm.
That's how everything is like so micromanaged now.
It's
You have
too
to get
much
right
now.
down to the T. Everything. Stop. Styles of music. Everything.
There's styles out there that I don't even know what they call what
Yeah, I know.
styles.
It's like way too much.
What
But
was it last year? I didn't know what K-pop was. Like last year, I'm like, what the fuck is
yeah,
K-pop?
dude, that shit's big.
It's big. There's also another one out that's called. Somebody was telling me it's like this animation thing. It's not even a band. It's like a fake thing. It's like an animation thing, but there's songs. I don't. There's so much stuff out there we don't even know.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, I go to some of these record stores and I'm looking through the records and I'm like, I have no clue who any of these bands are,
Yeah,
and they're
dude,
older bands too.
and just like look on Discogs and like you could see all these bands like what the fuck is this band? Like I never heard of this name before.
Yeah.
Like
It's
and they're
crazy.
all like the top like 100 and you're like looking like never heard of this, never heard of this, never heard of this.
Yeah, like somebody asked me today. Do you know who Teddy Swims is? I know he's big. I have no clue who he is though.
I just heard that name.
Never
It
heard them.
must be a big song out now.
Wait,
I
why
don't
did I
know.
just hear that? My boss was playing something by him today.
Yeah, Teddy
It
Swims.
must have been on some kind of TV show or something.
I'll probably hear it all
That's
the time
weird that
now.
you just said that.
I just heard. Somebody just mentioned it to me. I'm like,
That's so weird that you just mentioned that because my boss mentioned that today at work.
yeah, I think that's his name. I think
Hmm.
that's his name. Yeah. So, yeah. So we got next week. We'll do our top 10. We're going to do individual top 10. So we'll do it. We're like, my 10, Damien's 10. And we'll each talk about our individual that way. I think it'll be more fun that way instead of just picking 10. Yeah. So we're going to tell you next week what our top 10s each are for 2024. Mixtapes and tasty cakes. See you next week.